So I am in Davos, Switzerland, and I am standing in front of the high security Davos Forum. And I'm not sure that I went to the conference that everyone else did. I went to the Future House, which was extraordinary. And I'm going to show you some clips of what people had to say and who was there.
Okay, the vision of the early founders and of Tim, and you'll obviously speak for yourself, Tim, to me was one of a very, very democratic, decentralized, empowering internet, not the surveillance-based, extractive, scrape people's data, and and by the way, I'm a capitalist, so I'm all for making money. That's not the issue. It's just at what extent.
So, adults, especially in the United States, carry so much anxiety. And unfortunately, we're transferring that to our children. So I think part of tackling this phone addiction in adults is by reminding everybody to calm down, that everything is not an emergency. And in fact, a critical part of learning how to be in this world is learning how to tolerate frustration, not being able to solve every problem instantaneously, and how to slow down and be in communication and see what the right tool is to communicate and address the problem in time.
Children have a right to participate. They have a right to be part of decision-making when it affects them. Right? That is, again, their fundamental right based on the convention, but it is totally ignored. So we have tech companies, indeed, who are undermining their agency. And kids are saying we're fed up of being not only surveilled by our parents, but we're fed up of being bullied and manipulated by these companies. But at the same time, they're not part of the conversation. And more, it's like, oh, we're listening to youth. Well, children are all young people up to the age of 18, and they have specific rights. And we need to be very careful that we make the effort to bring those young people to the table, and that we don't say, okay, 25 to 35-year-olds, we'll do the job. It's much easier. I tell you, it's much easier, but we have to listen to children. And children are very, very clear, very eloquent, and they're very knowledgeable about this. So, they do bring a lot to the table. At Five Rights, we have everything we do is underpinned by children's voices. We have more than 200 youth ambassadors around the world in more than 50 countries who feed into our research, feed into our advocacy. We put their voice at the center. We bring them to the table of policy events. And it is difficult, but it is absolutely critical and extremely valuable. Do you mind if I just add one more?
Some teens may experience conflicts with their parents, themselves, and their peers as a result. So our relationships with our parents are impacted. I can say from my experience that this cycle of dependency is not something that most parents can fully understand. That's because we're growing up in a different world than our parents did. In this context, the cliche of a teen slamming the door and shouting at their parents, "You don't understand me," is unfortunately more true than ever. We also face internal conflict. I can tell you that many of my peers struggle daily with controlling how much time they spend behind their screens and feeling down on themselves when they know it's too much and when it has distracted them from things that must get done.
So one of the reasons I was moved to start Mama was because we heard from so many school administrators, principals, teachers. They wanted to get rid of the phones in the classroom, but the biggest obstacle they actually faced was parents. And some parents had fears that what if there was an emergency and they couldn't reach their child?
We need a culture change, right? And to create that, we need to start by normalizing the conversation. We need to make it okay to openly discuss our struggles with device dependency. We need to raise awareness. We need to share stories. Real stories resonate and help people understand that they're not alone in their experiences and can seek help if they need to. Education plays a significant role as well. Schools, parents, and especially us as young people need to be educated about the powerful impacts of digital devices and social media. And it's not just about saying, put the phone down, but instead understanding the why and the psychological effects behind it, and offering the tools and support to help manage it. And when it comes to responsibility. There is often debate whether it should fall on governments, the tech industry, schools, or parents. In reality, I think everyone needs to work together and really get involved. So if everyone, industry leaders, educators, policymakers, families, and especially us as young people are all on the same page, 100%, it would make our efforts to tackle this issue far more effective. In the end, I do recognize that this is a significant challenge, but ultimately, it's about our future. And I do acknowledge that there are many experts in the room who are deeply concerned about this topic and are actively working to address it. And that gives me hope. But ultimately, we need to strengthen and create support systems that offer genuine guidance, whether through peer groups, accessible mental health resources, or policies that encourage healthier digital habits. This is a collective challenge, and only by working together can we shift the culture towards prioritizing mental health over the relentless pull of constant connectivity.
All right, that's it. I've been here for a week, met 100 people, ran out of business cards, talked about global politics, talked about technology, talked about Gen Z, talked to a bunch of philanthropists. There's real interest in the future of social media and its evolution. And it's a good place to learn that.